Think that hip hop still needs a union?
No. I already gave hip hop away. I told y'all a long time ago that streaming was the dumbest shit that we ever did in history. Dog, we finally started getting pennies. And then you gonna let these motherfuckers give us fractions? Why?
Man, David Banner was going in when he was talking about what happened with hip hop. But the only thing is, he was partially right.
Check me out.
So as you got a chance to listen to what David Banner had to say in that clip, like I said, he was cooking on that. You know what I'm saying? He was saying some real things. But if you know the history about hip hop, then you would actually be able to follow me easy. If not, go do your research as I lay everything out. Hip hop was actually given away since its inception. Let me say that again. Since the beginning, when hip hop happened and it started flourishing, hip hop been gave itself away. Now, the messed up thing about it, one of the first labels to actually put hip hop music out, and if I'm not mistaken, the very first song, which y'all should know, Rapper's Delight. If not, go look that up. But Rapper's Delight was on a record label called Sugar Hill Records. This is back in the late 70s. One of the first songs to be released, and then you also had the OG, triple OG, you know what I'm saying, Curtis Blow. But Rapper's Delight, Sugar Hill Records, and all the stuff that they put out, black-owned label. The sad thing is, with Sugar Hill, from my understanding, I got homies that's a little older, they always break this game down to me. From my understanding, they was almost like the homie tribe or any other tribe back in the days in Africa that was selling its own people. Crazy to say it, but what I mean is, they was robbing their artists. They was going through that a lot with their artists. And then you think about it. We did that to ourselves, and then you had the white labels that started coming around that was doing the same thing. So by the time we wanted to be able to get record deals and all of that, we gave it away. Because think about it. If that was the case, what David Banner is saying, partially true. But if that's the case, what David Banner is saying, we should have never went corporate, period. Never. And the sad thing is, even with us trying to trust our own people, the same thing happened. Now, over the years, the decades, since, 73 of hip-hop, the 79 first song being released, to labels, black-owned labels, to your Death Rows, to your Bad Boys, Cash Moneys, No Limit, all these labels. The sad thing is, none of these labels was doing everything on their own. They always under Universal Music, or they was under Interscope. They was always a sub-label, if you will, under the major label that was doing the distributing. Some labels got better deals than others. They did. But sadly, we been gave our shit away. That is what the sad thing is about. So fast forward to what David Banner is saying about the streaming. You got people like, say, when Drake did a deal with Apple Music. 2 albums or something like that for $40 million or something like that, he said on the song, right? Stuff like that is what David Banner is talking about. The streaming situation that came is because of piracy, bootlegging, stealing people's music, selling out there in the streets. You can go get an album for $5 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Some people might go to the shows to still show support or be like, damn, I'm glad I ain't spent $15, $13 at Best Buy for this album because it was trash. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people was okay with buying from the bootleggers because of that. A lot of people don't know labels was bootlegging their own shit. Possibly Death Row was one of the people that was bootlegging their shit. That's where you get all these Machiavelli 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 now it's on all these posthumous albums where you got your Until the End of Time, Pac's Life, you know what I'm saying? All these different albums that came out after Pac's death. That's why a lot of songs had to be remixed, but we already heard all them songs until they remixed them and put better production behind it. But we already seen that happened. So we've been giving our shit away. And like I said, I respect David Banner to the utmost. But at the same time, he's partially right. So when we say a hip-hop union or a rap union, I don't think it's too late to still have one. But the problem is a lot of people don't get how important that would be. So you would have to be grabbing the OGs. And that's where the biggest issue is. The OGs don't want to do it. Because at that time when bootlegging became a thing, think about it, if an Outkast would have went independent. Think about if T.I. and Grand Hustle would have stayed independent instead of going, after getting a release from LaFace, and going with Atlantic. Say if Cash Money and all them would have went independent. Say, when before Wayne Baby had the issues and re-signing, negotiating Universal, they would have stayed independent. It would have had to take a lot of those OGs to not go and do what they did. Think about all the artists when bootlegging became a thing, Rough Riders, if they would have just went independent, because I remember DMX, rest in peace, was trying to do that with Bloodline Records, but he still was an imprint, I think, through the Rough Riders and Def Jam. But what if all these artists would have stayed independent? That could have been the resurgence of the independent labels and distributing our own thing. Now, we know we had talks with when Suge Knight was trying to be a distributor, Irv Gotti, who else? The brother from Rap-A-Lot, the owner of Rap-A-Lot, Jay Prince. You know what I'm saying? They said they came together and certain people, we ain't gonna say no names, y'all done heard them for years, messed everything up. So right now we have a way to do that with the internet, but it's all about ownership. And I understand he's saying for a fraction of a penny and all that. But if you have a deal with a major label and they decided to go with the streaming, they was able to reap the benefits first and then give less to the artist. So once we started getting a penny, it was already done from there. They was already moving forward in what they was going to do. So that's the last thing I'm going to land on. It wasn't just that artists gave their shit away like a Drake did his and able to do the streaming stuff and get a great deal. The problem was, if you already had a contract, it was certain things in those contracts that artists don't understand and what they don't know, and that's the fine print. And I may quote it wrong, but something in those deals usually might say something, we have the authority or something like that over your likeness in different universes and beyond, some kind of crazy shit. So once it went to streaming, they still owned your shit. So if you already had a contract and you wasn't independent like David Banner was talking about at the time, it don't matter. If especially you had an album, 10-year deal, and it was already crossing over and new artists coming in. So I respect what David Banner is saying, but let's keep it real. If you know hip hop history, then you already understand where I'm coming from. If you don't, just go back to Rapper's Delight. Go back to Sugar Hill Records. Go back to those first labels that was out. Go back to those first artists that was getting signed and they was doing bad deals. And go back to the inception of hip hop when it was just in the streets and people thought it was a fad and wasn't going to go nowhere until artists started getting record deals. We've been sold hip hop out. How can we save it now? Only thing we can do is keep talking about the truth like that, get young artists the education. And matter of fact, one last thing, get OGs to stop bullshitting and stop asking questions. No disrespect to Nori, but stop asking, should we have a hip-hop union? And you know damn well you could have been started one. This your boy JTL. Check me out music. Y'all know what it is. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if this is your first time checking me out. We'll be back. Chill!